lawless demon. You recognize me? Devaraja Li, said the Demon King with a laugh. You want to exact vengeance for your son, I suppose, and you want to recover your weapons. For one thing, I want to exact vengeance, said the Devaraja. And for another, I want to arrest you so that we can rescue the Tang monk. Don't run away. Have a taste of my scimitar. Stepping aside to dodge the blow, the fiendish creature lifted his long lance and turned to meet his opponent. In front of the cave, the two of them had quite a battle. Look at the Devaraja's scimitar slashing. The fiend's lance upraised. The scimitar slashes and frosty light emits bright flames. The lance rises and the will to fight pierces doleful clouds. One is the fiendish creature reared in the Golden Helmet Mountain. One is the deity sent from the divine mists hall. That one for Mockingjane nature unleashes his power. This one, to lift the master's ordeal, shows the great relation. Using magic, the Devaraja lets fly sand and stone. Striving to win, the fiend sprays mud and dirt. Spraying dirt can darken heaven and earth. Flying sand may becloud rivers and seas. The two work hard to make a merit. Because the Tang monk bows to the world-honored one. When the great sage Sun saw the two of them had begun to fight, he turned at once and leapt up to the tall summit and said to the star of fiery virtue, "Take care, third Numa. Look at them." The demon fought the Devaraja for some time, and in the heat of the battle, he again took out the fillet. When the Devaraja saw it, he at once turned his auspicious luminosity around and fled in defeat. On the tall summit, the star of fiery virtue quickly gave the command for the various gods of his department to start the fire. It was some fire, all right. Marvelous. The classic says, "The south is the spirit of fire. A few tiny sparks can burn up 10,000 acres. For the power of the third Numa can change into 100-point fire. Now there are fire lances, fire scimitars, fire bows, and fire arrows. Such the gods of sundry bureaus use in different fashions. You see in midair fire crows flying and cawing, and all over the mount fire steeds swiftly galloping, red rats in pairs, fire dragons in twos. Red rats in pairs throw out mighty flames, and 10,000 miles are reddened. Fire dragons in twos belch thick smoke, and every corner turns black. Fire carts are pushed out. Fire gourds are opened. Fire banners wave on a sky full of mists. Fire rods stir up an earthful of blaze. Why speak of Ning Chi whipping the ox? This is more fierce than Mr. Joe at Red Cliff. This is a heaven, not a worldly fire, truly awesome. Crackling and roaring, it's a holocaust. When the demon saw the fire coming, he was not in the least afraid. He tossed the fillet in the air, and with a loud whoosh, it sucked away all those fire dragons, fire horses, fire crows, fire rats, fire bows, and fire arrows. Then he turned toward his cave and went back in triumph. The only thing left in the star of fiery virtue's clutch was a banner, which he used to recall all his warriors to join the Devaraja and his followers. As they sat down in the south slope of the mountain, the star said to Pilgrim, "O great sage, truly one seldom sees a vicious demon like this one. Now I've lost my fire gear. What shall I do?" "No need to grumble," said Pilgrim with a smile. "All of you, please take a seat for a while. Old Monkey will make another trip." "Where are you going this time?" asked the Devaraja, and Pilgrim said, "If that fiendish creature is not afraid of fire, he must be afraid of water. The proverb says water can overcome fire. Let Old Monkey go to the northern heaven gate and ask the star of watery virtue to let loose his water and flood the cave. When that demon king is drowned, I'll get back your possessions. Though this is a good plan," said the Devaraja. "I fear that your master, too, will be drowned." "Don't worry," said Pilgrim. "If my master is drowned, I have a way to revive him. But if I cause you all any further inconvenience, it will not be proper. In that case, said Fiery Virtue, please go. Please go, dear great sage. Again he mounted the cloud somersault, and went before the north heaven gate, where he ran at once into the Devaraja Vaisrava. Where is the great sage son going? Asked the Devaraja, bowing. Pilgrim said, I must enter the dark vastness palace, and see the star of watery virtue on a certain matter. What are you doing here? Vaisrava replied. Today happens to be my turn to patrol the gate. As they spoke, the 4 grand marshals, Pang, Leo, Go, and Bi, all came forward to greet Pilgrim and invited him to have tea with them. Don't trouble yourselves, said Pilgrim. My affairs most urgent. Taking leave of the deities, he went straight up to the dark vastness palace, and asked the deities of the water department to announce him. When the star of watery virtue heard the announcement that the great sage Sun Wukong had arrived, he at once commanded that the 4 seas, the 5 lakes, the 8 rivers, the 4 great rivers, the 3 mighty streams, and the 9 tributaries be thoroughly searched. The dragon kings at these places were also asked to retire. He then straightened out his clothes to walk out of the palace door to greet his visitor. As they walked back into the palace, the star said, Yesterday, Kahang Bureau came to inspect our humble palace, for he feared that some god in this department might have longed for the world. We are still making a thorough investigation of the gods of rivers and seas, and it's not finished yet. That demon king isn't a god of the rivers, said Pilgrim, but a much more powerful spirit. At first the Jade Emperor was kind enough to send Devaraja Li, his son, and 2 thunder squires to try to arrest him down below. He came up with his fillet, and 6 divine weapons were sucked away. Old Monkey had no other choice but to go to the Red Aura Palace and ask the Star of Fiery Virtue to start a fire with the various gods of his department. Once more, the fillet sucked away the fire dragons, the fire horses, and the like. I thought that if this thing was not afraid of fire, it had to be afraid of water. I have come, therefore, especially to ask the star to unleash your water power, capture that monster spirit for us, and recover the weapons for the heaven warriors. The ordeal of my master will also be lifted. When Watery Virtue heard this, he at once gave this order to the divine King Water Lord of the Yellow River. Follow the great sage and give him assistance. Taking out a small white jade chalice from his sleeve, Water Lord said, I have something here to hold water. Look at that, said Pilgrim. How much can this small chalice hold? How could it drown the demon? To tell you the truth, great sage, said Water Lord, this chalice of mine contains the water of the Yellow River. Half a chalice means half a river, and 1 whole chalice will hold an entire river. Delighted, Pilgrim said, half a chalice is quite enough. He took leave of Watery Virtue at once and slipped away from the heaven arches with the Yellow River god. After he had bailed out half of the Yellow River's water with his chalice, Water Lord followed the great sage to the Golden Helmet Mountain, where they met the Devaraja, the Prince, the Thunder Squires, and Fiery Virtue. No need for going into the details, said Pilgrim. Just let Water Lord follow me there and let me command the fiend to open the door. Don't wait for him to come out. You just pour the water into the cave and the whole nest of that fiend will be drowned. I'll go and fish out the corpse of my master, and there'll be lots of time to revive him. Water Lord agreed and walked right behind Pilgrim, who went around the slope to go up to the cave entrance. Fiend, open the door, he cried. Those little fiends standing guard at the door recognized that it was the voice of the great sage Sun, and they hurried inside to report. Sun Wukong is here again. When the demon heard this, he picked up his treasure and his long lance and began to walk out. The stone door opened with a crash and Water Lord immediately emptied the content of his white jade chalice toward the inside of the cave. When he saw the water rushing in, the fiend dropped his long lance and took out the fillet, holding it high at the second door. Not only was the water blocked right there, but it reversed its course and gushed back out of the cave. So startled was the great sage sun that he somersaulted immediately into the air and, together with Water Lord, leapt up to the tallest peak. The other deities also mounted the clouds to follow them. They all stood on the peak to watch the water swelling to tremendous height and force. Marvelous water. Truly. One spoonful of it will make it unfathomable. For when it's propelled by divine force, it benefits all things and flows to swell 100 streams. You hear its loud splashes rocking the valley. You see its giant crest surging up to heaven. Its mighty roar seems like thunder rumbling. Its violent waves seem like summit snow swirling. Billows, 1,000 feet tall, cover the roadways. Ripples, 10,000 layered, surge o'er the peaks. Gurgling like spilled jade. Clanging like plucked strings. Hitting the rocks, it foams like chips of jade tossed high. Rounding the curves, it breaks out in eddies unending. It flows through the lowlands and depressions, filling up brooklets and joining both their reaches. Alarmed by what he saw, Pilgrim said, "That's bad. The water is flooding the rice fields of people everywhere, but it hasn't even touched the inside of his cave. What shall we do?" He asked Water Lord to retrieve the water at once, but Water Lord said, "Your humble deity only knows how to let loose the water, but he doesn't know how to retrieve it. As the proverb says, water thrown out cannot be retrieved." Fortunately, that mountain was rather tall and rugged, so that all the water flowed swiftly downward. In a moment, it drained into all the brooks and ravines and disappeared.